Hi guys, I'm Kenza and welcome back to mindovermeta.io. Today I'll be speaking to you guys about how to talk to people that are more experienced than you, and I'll also be sharing my journey, how I got my first interview and how it went for me. So talking to people that are more experienced than you or people that are even older than you can feel extremely intimidating, especially if you're not an extrovert and you're more quiet like myself, especially when you're a student and they're founders. And when I started mindovermeta.io, I didn't have a network or experience. I just had a ton of questions that I wanted to be answered by people that were extremely experienced. And honestly, I had no idea if any of these people that I emailed and reached out to be a part of mindovermeta, I didn't even know if they would respond in the first place. But I started anyways because I had genuine questions and I was so curious to find out the answers to them. One of the biggest things I learned is you don't just need to sound impressive, you just need to be real with what you're saying. You need to make sure what you're saying isn't just a script that you're following, but more of real curiosity and questions that you want answers to and you're desperate for answers to. I was literally shaking in my voice and trembling when I had my first interview. It was honestly so scary because I was so worried whether or not I was gonna mess something up or if I was gonna stutter or say something wrong, and I did. And I even kept some of my interviews unedited, most of them, all of them actually unedited, so my progress could be shown throughout the course of all my interviews. At the start, I was stuttering a lot and I was shaking and I was really nervous. But after talking to more and more CEOs, I realized that confidence comes after and you just have to start, because that's how you build up your confidence. You can't wait for the right time because that won't ever come. The first interview I had was with 100 Coconuts and his name was Greg Lowe. And I think Greg could hear how nervous and shaken up I was. And he was so nice and so empathetic with me. And that just shows the type of entrepreneur he is. And I got so many of my questions answered and it was such a helpful interview, and it was an amazing first interview to have because he was so comforting and it just made me gain more confidence and momentum for my next interview. Instead of trying to prove myself, I focused on just being curious and wanting answers to my questions, asking genuine questions, seeking real interest in his journey and showing him that I cared. I've kept my videos, as I said, unedited, so you can go back and see my progression through my interviews. Not everyone replied to me when I emailed them and asked them to be a part of mindovermeta, but you know what? That's okay. I just needed a few yeses to keep going, and for me, those yeses changed how I went about everything. When I emailed Jeff Reed, which was one of my favorite interviews, the professor of entrepreneurship in Georgetown University, I was amazed that he responded so quickly and was so willing to be a part of my platform, and it was so exciting to see. And he agreed to this interview and I did it straight away, and his insights were so helpful and gave me a true perspective of what good lessons are and can be formed from professors, from real professors that teach so many students every year the concept of entrepreneurship. And he is so experienced and it just made me learn so much. It gave me more confidence, it gave me more momentum, as I said, and it gave me something to build off of. But really, what really matters at the end of the day is how you show up even after those no's that you get. Asking thoughtful questions, continuing a conversation with these entrepreneurs and CEOs that have been so kind enough to be a part of something that benefits you and them. And the biggest shift for me was realizing that they weren't doing me a favor, but it was actually that I belonged in the conversation and I just needed to own it and do what I could to make the best out of it and answer all the questions that I had. And I did. I got so many questions that I had answered, and it just sparked my interest even more. And you bring a fresh perspective even to these people that are so experienced and speak to so many people every day. Confidence doesn't come before you start it, it comes after you learn and after you make mistakes and how you build from that. So if you're thinking about reaching out to someone and if you have questions you want answered from someone, just do it, because your first yes might be the thing that changes everything for you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time on mindovermeta. Thank you.